Hello friend, welcome back to my channel KBS Technocrat. Today we are going to explore how we can do the environment setup for running unit test case on Visual Studio. Also how we can run the unit test using Visual Studio 2022. These settings are not difficult for expert, but these settings are very much required for a beginner who has not yet used VS Code editor or Visual Studio 22 editor for creating and running the test cases. So let's understand what is in today's agenda. So first we'll try to cover uh, how to install VS Code and then how to create and run unit test cases, how to install packages, and how we can uh, run the unit test case using VS Code. And then we will try to understand how we can create a unit test using Visual Studio 2022 and what are the packages are required to run the unit test cases, and then we will write a sample test cases and we will run it. So let's move on to the installation of VS Code. To install Visual Studio Code, we need to follow these two steps. First, we have to download the executable file from this particular website that is called https://code.visualstudio.com. I will show you later how we can download and install it, and then you can follow the step for different operating system to install it. For example, if you are using a Windows operating system, then you can directly click on the install file that is called visual vs code setup.exe and follow the instruction. You will be able to install it. But if you are using but when we are using Mac OS and Linux system, then to install that VS Code, you have to follow these steps. Basically, you have to download the zip file from the given websites, right? And then you have to follow this step. What I will do, I will add these steps in the description section. You can refer this. These are very simple, steps which you can follow it and you can install it. After installing, we will try to create a Visual Studio VS Code, a project called unit test project, right? And then we will try to add a xUnit package and then we will try to run it by adding some test cases. So let's stop here and jump on code and try to run a simple test case using VS Code. As I discussed, to install, first we have to navigate to the Visual Studio Code and then you can click on download. Once you click on download, right? Once you click on download, it will start downloading. And once it's a download uh, completed, you can follow the step mentioned in the description box for Mac, Windows, and Linux system. You will be able to download it. So it's downloaded the exe. For Windows, you can run it. If you want to install for different OS, you can select that setup for that particular OS, and you can install directly there, right? So if you see here setups, here we are having Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. So what I did it, I have downloaded for Windows, and if I go in my download section, I will be able to see that that exe is created. And then when I double click, it will ask me for installation. Since I have already installed, I am not following those steps. So I would highly recommend that refer the description section and try to follow the instruction mentioned here on this website. You will be able to install it in any OS, either it's a Linux, Mac OS, or Windows. So here now I will focus on how to create a unit test cases using VS Code and how to run it. What I will do, I will go to a particular folder and try to create a project. So let me go to a folder. I will go to a folder called code. So I'm going here and then I'm going. to CD drive. You can select any. So let's say consider I have selected here, and then I will go to command prompt. Since .NET and VS Code is installed, I am going to create a new project under this folder. So I will type this command .NET new, and since I'm using xUnit as a test runner, then xUnit, and then if you are using NUnit, you have to put NUnit. So for this sample, I'm going to use xUnit. So I just typed xUnit, and then I have given the project name. So I just click on this, right? So now this project is created. Now I will go to cd that project name. So I project folder, and then I will type code and dot. This is one way of navigating, creating and navigating to a project. Directly you can create a project on this terminal as well. Whatever command I have given, please refer the description section. You can go to new terminal and you can type same command here. You will be able to here you will be able to execute that command, right? So you will be able to create that project here as well, right? So since I have created, I'm not executing from here. I have just executed from the command prompt, main command prompt, right? Not terminal. So that's fine. Okay. So now this is my test file. So now I need to add some test cases here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some test cases here, and then we will try to run those test cases. So to write test case, we need to have some method here which you want to test it. Let me write a method which will basically add two numbers. So I have created a class called calculator, and then I added a method called add, which will take two input parameter as an integer a and integer b, and it will return the sum. Now I will have to write the unit test for that. So what I will do, I will add a test case for that to check that adding the two number is returning, that function is returning the right sum value. Okay, so I will add a class. So what I have done, I have added a calculator test class, and then in that test class, I have added a method called add two numbers, right? And in the add two numbers, we are just basically creating an instance of that class, setting the numbers, and then calling the add method which is located into this particular class, and then we are asserting it because 5 plus 3 should be 8. So our expected value is 8, and we are comparing with result that both are equal or not, right? So I will add this code link into the description box. If you require, you can refer it, right? So what we will do, there is a two way to run it. Let's go to terminal, and I will go on a new terminal, and then simply you just put dot net and then put test. So you can see there are one test case which passed, right? You can also test using this, okay, right? So if you want to say this, let's, so you can see here, right? Here you are having a test cases icon here, so you can see your test cases here as well. So let's say consider if I save it, let's say file save, file save. So once you build your project and save all the changes, you will be able to see that your test cases are displayed here. Now what I'm going to do, that I'm going to add a new test case here. Let's say consider if I give a test case 1 here, let's say same test case, I'm just giving 1, and I'm giving here 4 so that the assert will remain same. So 4 plus 4 is also 1. So I'm just trying to add it here, and then I will add this attributes. That's how the system will know that this is a test case. I added here, right? So now we are having two test cases, right? So if I save it, let's say save it, And if I build it right, save all, right? And again, if I build it, let me go on the terminal, and let's say I click on a split terminal, and then again I will run the same command, .NET test. You'll be able to see there is two test cases will be executed. So if you see, total two test cases are displayed here, right? And then once you refresh it, right, you will be able to see, let's run it here, and then you will be able to see that those two test cases are displaying here. Yeah, so now you are able to see these two test cases. So what I will do, I will add these test cases and complete code to Git repo, and you can refer that. And this is how we can write a test case using VS Code. Since here we are writing our code and unit tests in same project, but when we are going to use Visual Studio, we will be writing this into two different solutions, right? So let me close this, and now we will open Visual Studio and try to do the environment setup there. So I'm just opening Visual Studio 2022, right? And if you have not yet installed Visual Studio, you can try to Google it, download Visual Studio. You will be able to find out, right? And if you want to understand the basic of unit testing, right, please refer my previous video, which I have created for the unit test introduction. So let me create a new project here, and then I will first try to create a class library, right? So I will create a class library next, and then just say I will give a calculator, right? Calculator, calculator, anything calculator. I will add code in same location. I will click on next, and I will use .NET 8, right? And then it will take few seconds to create a project. Then what I'm going to do, that I'm going to add a method here. So public class one, and then I'm going to, the namespace name is incorrect. So I will go and rename it. Let me rename it. Okay, it's a typo. So that's fine. Okay, so here we will add a method like public int add two numbers, right? Int a, int b, and then return a b. So this is my simple method which I want to test it. So in the same solution, what I will do, let me rename this also, calculator. Then what I will do, I will add a test. So add, here I will click add new project, right? I will click on new project. This time I will select xUnit. Since I am going to use xUnit as a tester, so I'm using xUnit. I'll click here, and then I will give the name calculator test, something like that, let's say. And then I will select same, and then what I will do, I will add project reference here, and I will add the calculator project reference. Then I will build this, right? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a test case. So let's say I will give that verify edition edition of two numbers. Let's say consider this is right. So what I will do, I will follow that arrange and then add and then assert. This is called 3A model, which I will explain in another video. So here, let's say consider I will have declare int a equal to 5, right? Int b equal to 6. That's anything, and then we will try to variable calc equal to a new, and then that calculator class. So basically we will put class 1 dot new, class 1 dot new class 1, right? And then this, then we will call variable result equal to calc dot calculator, uh, two numbers, and then put a dot b, and then we will try to assert it. Assert equals, all right, result e- sorry, expected result is 11 and result. So this is expected, basically this is expected and this is actual, right? So our test case is there. Now what we will do, we will build this, right? Build it. So we can see the build successfully happen. Now we'll go and test, and then we will see the text explorer. And once you click on text explorer, let me expand a little bit, you will be able to see there is a test case here, right? This, right? You can run it here. Okay, so it's run. Let's say consider if I give a wrong value here, it should fail. So now if when I run it, it should be failed. Okay, so that's how we can configure the environment for unit testing using VS Code and Visual Studio. I hope this video will help you for understanding the environment setup and very basic introduction of unit testing. If it's helped, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching my channel.